What is going on, Alpha Hunters? It is a very tubular Tuesday today. Okay, so we got a little bit of a gap up here today on the SPY, about a 0.25% gap up. Market's currently up 0.3%. You can see possibly a little double top here over the first hour and a half. Yeah, I'd be curious to see if that happens. As for now, I mean, I don't see why people aren't going to try and buy the dip, keep it going higher. But the interesting thing is not really what's going on with the SPY. I mean, SPY's part of it, and we'll see that here in just a second. But look at the Qs. Qs have a very solid sell down. I mean, 10 minutes, popped on the open, but look at that solid sell off there for about 30 minutes. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And as we kind of looked at the SPY, I mean, how much the weighting of Qs and SPYs wrapped up into big tech, there must have been a lot of flows into the other areas of the stock market. And sure enough, there was. The IWM is up over 2%. Now, the IWM doesn't have any weighting factor on the SPY, but man, yeah, you can see this thing is just continuing to absolutely monster higher, breaking barriers, just breaking barriers in all kinds of ways. DIA is up 1.4%, looking really solid there. RSP though tells you why the SPY is actually still positive. I mean, look at that move there on the RSP. I don't know, I was kind of looking at the daily on some of those, but yeah, it's a pretty huge move. Right there on the open, just powered higher. RSP, DIA, and the IWM all just on the open, just getting bought up. So yeah, looking pretty strong there. RSP, all-time highs, looking really good. DIA, IWM Qs. Q's not performing all that great right here, but I mean, they're still holding above moving averages. SPY having a pretty quiet day just because there's a lot of flow out of the big tech area into the other non-big tech areas. So there you go. Apple basically flat. Microsoft trading down 1.25%. Nvidia's down 2%. So there you go. Microsoft having a little bit of a breakdown moment here. Makes sense. Probably comes down to the 50 EMA. We'll see over the next maybe a couple of weeks. VIX, nice gap up here, traded lower. Don't know why the VIX would have gapped up today, especially with the market kind of gapping up as well. But we've kind of been talking about here over the past week and a half. We're getting kind of tight in here on the VIX, and it seems like we want to have the VIX wants to have like a little pop higher type moment. So maybe it does do one of these that we had kind of towards the end of May, where you just kind of boop up to like 15 or so. Maybe it settles back out. Yeah, other than that, I'm not gonna be shocked if that does happen. Real quick, did we get any meaningful data? I don't think we were getting any meaningful data. I mean, right now in this part of the week, I think it's just earnings. We're gonna get EIA stuff tomorrow. Fed talk. There's always Fed talk kind of going on, so you never kind of know what's going on with that. Hold on. Why am I on last week? There we go. So yeah, auction stuff. Yep, there's just Fed talk. We did get some import export data. Import prices year over year change at 1.6, export 0.7. I don't track that information, so I have no idea really what's good there. What else we got coming up? I think it's just earnings. Honestly, I think we're just in earnings this week. It's about the biggest stuff. Obviously, Thursday we'll get the initial jobless claims. That'd be the big one. Fed talk. Yeah, that's about all I really got there on data this week. It's just gonna be earnings. Mostly focus on earnings. All right, DXY. Still, I mean, holding this kind of support level around 104. Still holding that. All right. Trading higher today. Gold, new all-time highs. Or GLD's at all-time highs. What the heck? GLD's at all-time highs. Why did you not go to the futures? There we go. Hey, gold's also at all-time highs. Just barely. Like, I think like right now. Yeah. Basically just hitting all-time highs like right now. So gold futures trading all-time highs. GLD, the ETF, trading all-time highs. Pretty solid. Like we've been kind of calling this one basically since the second half of June. Really for most of June. Just kind of choppy consolidation period. Once we got this little pop up on early here July, it was looking pretty good. That gonna go higher. 10-year yields, kind of hanging out. Kind of thinking real quick. We did have that gap up yesterday. We haven't broken yet last week's low yet. We got close to doing that today, but we didn't quite break that low. What are yields doing? So there was something kind of bounced the market there about an hour before the market opened. Okay. 10-2 inversion. All right, coming back down. Had a nice little breakout moment here. End of last week, beginning of this week, coming back down. Did have a pretty good gap to kind of start the week there. HYG. I need to see this. I need to see this thing get through 78.50 for it to be, for me to take it serious. To me, it's still kind of just holding a little too close to that top. LQD trying to continue to push higher. Okay. TLT trying to continue to push higher. Okay. Not too much kind of going on. I would imagine a lot of things are just kind of hanging out today. So we are getting close to getting into tech, which should be coming up next week. All right, as far as sector rotation goes, we got tech, lower end of the day. Okay, real estate, lower end, not lower end, but underperforming on the day. Staples, communications, utilities, and energies all underperforming a little bit there. Financials, discretionaries, healthcare, materials, industrials outperforming. Look at industrial. Look at that moving industrials. Whoa. All right, looking strong there in the industrial area. And as far as intraday, industrials, yep, strong buying intraday. Materials, energies, financials, healthcare, discretionaries, and staples all outperforming. Communications underperforming, utilities, real estate, and tech underperforming the most during the day. You see a pretty solid drop here. About 20 minutes, I guess 20 minutes after the market had opened, a little bit after 20 minutes, and it's just tech just got hit for about 15 minutes there. And that's about where you're seeing some of the discrepancies or deviations on the day. Because you can see as tech was selling off, a lot of other things were running. So funds out of tech going into the other stuff. All right. That's about as quick as we've ever gotten through some of that. So crude oil. Crude oil's been trying to break down. Interesting. So there's the gap down from the contract roll on gasoline. Okay, so took a look at that yesterday. That makes perfect sense. Quick little trade down today. We'll see if it bounces by the end of the day. Heating oil. Thank you. Heating oil was supposed to have. I can't remember if this was supposed to have a gap up or gap down. I thought it was more of a little bit of a gap down, but kind of a flat, not really a big one, or maybe it was a little bit of a gap up, but not too big there. Has obviously traded down. Okay, so let's go check We're gonna check industrials, see what's going on there. Nice gap up here on Amazon. Amazon's up 0.8%. Nice gap up. Okay. Tesla, nice little lower wick into the moving averages coming up. Okay. Alphabet, kind of hanging out, not really doing a whole lot. Meta trying to break down 0.5%. Okay. So industrials. We got, yeah, producer manufacturing looking pretty good here. Wow. Cummins, Cat, Deere should be good. Okay. So Caterpillar has gotten its new revival, looking really strong here. Nice consolidation for about a month and a half, and then the past 4 trading sessions, you can see a nice pump higher. Yeah, it looks really good. Let me go to a weekly. Oof. I mean, this thing had a very nice start to the year, kind of, since that October low last year. I mean, you see that run it had, and basically just kind of did a little pullback. You see it on the weekly, the little ABC pullback, boom. Consolidated, continue to push higher. There you go. Looks really solid. Really good. Okay. All right, so that's Cat. How's Deere looking? Deere was breaking down in the beginning part of July, but nice bounce back here past a few trading sessions. And then GE. Is GE getting in on this? Oh yeah, GE flat as can be for the past like 2 months. Not doing a whole lot there. What else we got? CMI, Cummins, Industrials, Auto Parts. Yeah, I mean, looks kind of like the previous ones. Past 5 days, just trading aggressively higher. How's this looking on weekly? Yeah, this also has like that A, B, C kind of pullback. You're into like a wave, kind of like a 3-wave here. So if you don't really know Elliott wave, I gotta find it. There it is. So A, B, C are corrections, right? A, B, C. And then you got the extending or breakout kind of waves. You got 1, 2, 3. This is your big move. 3 is the big move. So we'll see how far. Obviously, we're in it. And it's much more obvious to see on. Whoops. I just screwed that up. So we'll see how far this 3-wave goes, and then it'll set up the 4-wave, and then you'll have the 5-wave extension after that. So we're in the 3-wave on this move, and Cummins will have earnings coming up at the 1st of August. There you go. So 1st of August. All right. Let me know if there's anything you guys want to take a look at. I'm just kind of running through DOV. It's always nice when you see the market not be so boring and predictable and just wake up and talk tech every freaking day. DOV, man, that is strong. You know what? That gives me kind of a thought. Oops. There was Q's IWM. I think Q's IWM. So where this green line is, I put a trade out last year on possibly being bearish on this relationship. Obviously, to start the year, kind of came back into it. It was looking kind of good at the end of last year. And then it went super flat there for a while. And then we got to May. And May, it just kind of took off, right? The Qs just took off. The RSP, IWM just went super flat, just stopped doing anything. And the Qs just continued to pump higher, and that continued into early July. And now it has come down quite substantially over the past 3 trading sessions. So I'm kind of curious on where we got to with this little recent pump here. Yeah, I mean, we're clearly at all-time highs. So let me see. NDX rut. Let me see if this goes farther back in time. It does go a little bit farther in time. So, you know, when you look at this on a weekly, you can see obviously a little consolidation, a little triangle pattern here set up from the end of last year to the beginning part of this year, and then obviously we got to the end of April, end of May, beginning of June, and it just kind of popped the top there, and it has rapidly come back down. So I guess the question is, how quickly do you want to continue to get into some of these other areas? Because some of these other areas, like in the RSP, specifically the industrials we were just taking a look at, man, it's, you know, it's kind of crazy how fast things can move. And are you chasing if you try to get in now? I don't think so, honestly. I'm not saying you got to go all in. I just don't think you want to have a huge exposure to tech. That's kind of my thing. So if you're wanting to reduce your tech exposure, I think that's not a bad play. I think there's other areas that could benefit quite a bit. Obviously, you see a lot of move into healthcare over here. UNH. I mean, look at that! Look at that move on healthcare or UNH. Just right up. Oh, and they had earnings. They had earnings today. So they had earnings this morning. Came in flat on revenue. They beat bottom line by about 2%, and just basically continued the pattern of what they were doing previous couple days. Very nice. Okay, so UNH earnings solid. There was another one. Charles Schwab, SCHW. There it is. Charles Schwab earnings. A little bit of a miss there on revenue, not much. And then earnings, a little beat there, about 2%. Not quite, but not. Yeah, it's all right. PGR. Nice gap up, came right back down to kind of the range it's been in over the previous couple of months. They did beat top and bottom, pretty good amount. AMD, when is their earnings? This is one I'm going to be really kind of interested in. Is AMD. I think AMD is going to be one to watch, especially if you're holding Nvidia. If there's one company out there that's going to be able to come in and really challenge Nvidia, it's probably going to be AMD. And yeah, I mean, obviously to me, it's not even about watching Nvidia's tech, because we know their tech is so far ahead from what everybody else is doing. To me, it's more of watching AMD. You could say Broadcom. I'm not the biggest, Broadcom enthusiast or whatever, but they did have their stock split today. So there you go. Their stock split did go 10-1. So today, there you go. But I think you're probably more watching AMD and Broadcom because if there's no other competition, Nvidia is going to continue to crush and just take the market and dominate. So to me, if I'm an Nvidia investor, that's what I'm watching. I'm not even watching Nvidia. I'm watching the competitors because they just dictate that market right now. So you don't even need to watch them. Transport's doing pretty good. How's the IYT doing? IYT. Oh my goodness, dude! Look at that move on the IYT, man. That's what I mean. It's just like you know, it's finally happened. You know, you see a lot of the other things really starting to work, and they've worked rapidly over the past like 4 or 5 training sessions. But it's a little too rapid for my taste. It's like the market's bottoming and everybody's buying the bottom. Rapid. That's what it feels like. And I don't like that. I don't like that too much. I would at least want to see some pullbacks here. Especially if tech's going to continue to sell off. Or just sell off. I mean, tech's getting really close to breaking down this 10 EMA, which obviously it is trying to stay above. But we'll find out here when we get to earnings season for, tech earnings. Alpha, not much kind of going on this week. We'll continue to kind of get into earnings. Obviously, next week we get to like big tech and our earnings and stuff like that. There'll be a little bit more to talk about on the earnings side. But we are in the earnings. Financials are, for the most part, are kind of wrapping up. We should be continuing just to get into transports. I believe like rail should be coming. So CSX is going to be at the beginning of August. UNP looks like next week. NSC also next week. You should be in some more airlines. UAL is tomorrow evening. United. Let's see, when is Love? Love's next week. LUV, Southwest Airlines. American is not tomorrow, but Thursday. Who else? And I believe Delta had theirs last week. Yeah, they did. And they're getting bought up today, up 4.25%. So, yeah, we're going to continue to get a lot of the other kind of earnings plays out there. But, people are trying to get as much information about how these companies are doing the economy, blah, 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 blah. All that stuff. So, if there's anything major that comes up, I'm sure we'll hear about it. And you'll see the market react to it. Alpha Hunters, we'll see what goes on tomorrow. But have a great rest of your day. Take care.